Now we got a couple of special proportions. First one, it's called the mid-segment. Now what the mid-segment of a triangle is, if we take a look at number one here, it says SK and KT are equal, which makes this the midpoint of that side. And on the bottom, same idea, J is the midpoint. So a mid-segment connects two sides of a triangle, and it has to be at the midpoints. This makes a special proportion for us. We don't even have to set up a proportion here. If you notice, it's a mid-segment. What this does is we have this smaller triangle inside of the whole big one. If it's at the midpoints, that means the proportion of the smaller triangle with the bigger triangle, the whole thing, I'm not talking about this part to this part, I mean the purple versus the whole thing. This is always half of the whole triangle. It's been like doubled in size. That's the proportion. So when you notice it's a mid-segment, you can just take the smaller one and times it by 2 to make it equal bigger one. So x plus 16 times 2, since that's the smaller one, equals the bigger one. Now this is a binomial, so I got to remember to distribute. So we get 2x plus 2 times 16 is 32. X is on both sides. I'm going to minus 1x. Then we'll subtract 32. X equals negative 8. And, you know, I mean, negatives sometimes might not make sense for lengths, but that's not the length. That's just what x is here. And that's all they want us to do is solve for x. So again, the way this works, you're going to take the smaller one and double it to catch it up to the bigger one, since this is a mid-segment. So we'll double the smaller one. 2x, well, that one's easy. It's just 2x minus x. 9. Done. On number 3. Again, DE here, this is the smaller one. We got to double it to catch it up to the bigger one. Multiply it by 2. It's a binomial, so I got to put parentheses around it. So 2x plus 28. I'm going to minus x. Subtract 28. Number 4, same idea. Let's double the smaller one. To catch it up to the bigger one. We'll distribute. Now we want to get our variables all on the same side, so I'm going to minus x. That's 34. Subtract 34, you get negative 21. Divide by 3. Negative 7. All right. Now I got a couple videos to make here, so I'm just going to skip 5 for the time's sake. And 6 and 7 are basically the same thing. It's just instead of saying solving for x, we got to find one of the missing sides. But we got to do this the same way. We got to double the smaller one to catch it up to the bigger one, 4x minus 30. We want our x's all on one side, so I'll subtract 2x. Don't drop that negative. Now we'll add the 30. Negative 10 plus 30 is 20. Divide by 2. We get 10. We're done the hard part. But it said to find BC, solve for BC. So what we got to do, we just said x is 10. So we're going to substitute that 10 in. We're going to put that 10 in for the x. And now it's just order of operations. We'll multiply first. And you could just do this on a calculator. And then 20 minus 15 is 5. So this one's the answer. Now on 7, we got to double the smaller to catch it up to the bigger. We distribute the 2. We get 4x minus 16. We're going to minus our x. And then two-step equation. So x is 9. And it says find xy. This one represents xy, so we're going to plug that in there. We're going to substitute the 9 in for x. So we get 10. So that was the mid segment. And just in case they try to sneak anything in here, something like this. Say these represented the angles this time instead. This is just to try to catch you off guard. When we started doing these similar figures, we talked about how the lengths of the sides change, but the angles are the same. These are corresponding angles here. So if they try to do this to you, don't double any of it. They're just equal. And so we'll solve for x on this one. And then we'll subtract our 40. So again, only the lengths are doubled. If they try to sneak one in about the angles, those angles are the same. When the triangle was enlarged, all the proportions are the same. So the angles stay the same. I think there's one like that on the delta map where they sneak in the angles. So that was a mid-segment. Now the side splitter here. Side splitter works. And as you can see, this isn't the midpoint or anything this time. We got an 18 and a 24. Side splitter works when those are parallel. Now, the way this works, you just go down the side. That part over that part equals the other part over the other part. So again, I just went down the sides. You got to start from the same place. So it's still like the top part over the bottom part. Top part over the bottom part. Then just cross multiply, but don't forget that's a binomial, so you got to put parentheses around it. We'll break out a calculator here. Oops. So we got 18 times 44, 792. And now we'll distribute here 24 times 3 is 72 plus, and 24 times 9, I don't know in my head, 216. So now we'll subtract 216, 792 minus 216, 576. Divide by 72. Oops. 8. Hopefully that's enough time on that one. I suppose you can always pause the video. But anyway, now, again, side splitter. You know, you can start from pretty much anywhere. I'll start from here. Maybe I'll do the right side first. So it's this part over that part. We just go down the side. So x plus 4 over 14. And then that part over that part. 6 over the 7. Now we'll cross multiply. Don't forget parentheses again, because that's a binomial. And then 6 times 14 is 84. Now distribute. 7x plus 28 equals 84. Now we'll subtract our 28 here. We get 56. Can you see that? Okay. 7x equals 56. Divide by 7. We get 8. And there's no looking for a side here. It just wants us to solve for x. So we're done. 13. Ooh, I should have written smaller there. I'll have to scrunch this in somewhere. Again, 20 over 35, top over bottom. So stay top over bottom. And you could do it the other way as long as you're consistent. So I got to cross multiply 20 times 77. 1540. And then use your parentheses. Now we'll distribute, so I get 70x over 700, well, plus 700, excuse me. Now we'll minus our 700, that gives us 840. And you divide there, you get 12. Now I'm just going to do one more just to make you aware. Oh, look here. Look what can happen. They gave us the whole thing. Well, we know the sum of the parts equals the whole, so whatever I add to 8 to get 24 has got to be the one I'm missing. I need the part over the part. So whatever I add to 8 to get 24 is the same thing as saying, hey, 24 minus 8, 16. Now we'll go 8 over 16. And you could start with like 16 over 8, as long as you did that one over that one. It's just about consistency. So I'm going to go that way here. 14 over the other part, 2x plus 8. Cross multiply. And then 16 times 14, 224. Distribute 16x plus 64. And then minus your 64 there for 160. Divide by 16. We get 10. All right. Hopefully that little crash course video there helped. And just don't forget, if on any of these they try to sneak in an angle, the angles are equal. You don't have to do a proportion. You don't have to double anything. You just set them equal. When you have similarity, Only the lengths change. The angles and everything else stays the same, like the features and how it looks.